Welcome to Full Scope, a sports podcast that discusses various sports topics and various issues that are at the forefront of sports. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, along with my counterpart, Savon Morris. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. It's going
That's
pretty good,
good.
man.
We have a lot of topics to get into today, and our first topic is, this past week in college football, um, Ohio State and Iowa State had, two of the biggest wins in college football this season as Ohio State came back from two 18-point deficits against Penn State at home and won 39-38. And JT Barrett had, an exceptional game, one of the best games I've ever seen him have at Ohio State. And Iowa State also upset TCU, another big upset win for Iowa State. So what were your thoughts on those two games?
I mean, the first game, Penn State, Ohio State, the game was a lopsided in the first half. Saquon Barkley had a 36-yard run touchdown in the first half, but kind of, dwindled after the second half. He wasn't too big of an impact because of the defense of Ohio State. But the play of JT Barrett really impressed me because, like I said the last week, he's not a big-time play guy. He's not going to go down the field most of the time. He's going to manage the game. He's going to take what the defense is giving him, so to speak. So he did a great job doing that. And then he showed me he can have that ability to go downfield and make big plays because he had a phenomenal game. He
Yeah,
really did.
he was perfect. He was perfect, absolutely perfect in the fourth quarter.
He
13 of
was.
13.
Yeah, and then he went, 33 out of 39,
Yeah.
300 some yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, what else do you want from your quarterback? And the running game wasn't, the running game was there and it helped him a little bit with JT running 95 yards and Dobbs running 88. So they wanted it more. They came out in the second half. They wanted it more. They were down by a couple touchdowns. I mean, Ohio State wanted it more. And they stopped
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley was kind of hard to do. 21 carries, 44
40,
yards.
44 yards.
Yeah, it wasn't a big game for him except for the 36-yard touchdown. But yeah, I think Ohio State really wanted more, and they showed it on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking about last week, is JT Barrett a game manager? You said he was. Did
Most
that
definitely,
did that do you still have that same view on him?
I do, I do, because the game they played with Clemson, he didn't have big plays down the field. Wasn't any big plays for the offense. It was rarely. He gave he took what the defense gave him. He managed the game. The defense wasn't enough because they had a healthy Kelly Bryant on the opposite side, and he really torched them. So I think he's a time management. What you want in a quarterback, you don't want a quarterback who take risk all the time like a Sam Darnold. You don't want that type of quarterback. At the range, you want him to take what the defense gives you, and then if the opportunity presents itself to go deep or to make a big play, then you do so. So I stick with what I said, but he has the potential to be that. But I think he wants to be a time manager because that's what NFL general managers and head coaches want.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, it was a performance that was worthy of a Heisman invitation to New York. Um, it,
Mm.
it was that big of a win. Under the circumstances, under everything that he had to do to bring back his team twice. I think it was that good of a performance.
Mm. Heisman
Yeah.
worthy.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he should win the Heisman. I'm just saying I think it was a performance that was worthy enough for him to be invited to the Heisman ceremony.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess I can agree with that.
yeah. I wasn't going that far. No, seriously. Because you still have Barkley, you still have Baker Mayfield, you still have Bryce Love. So there's a lot of guys that are skill ahead of him.
Right. Well,
Yeah, but in dealing with the Iowa State win at TCU, that was another big win. TCU's offense was limited to just 7 points, and Kenny Hill, it seemed like he kind of went back to his old habits, in a certain extent, and
mhm.
and struggled. So what was like your takeaway from that game?
That Iowa State is a dream killer. To
Yeah,
be honest,
they're
Iowa
they're,
State is a
they're playing
dream killer.
spoiler.
Yeah, they are, and they finally got the nod to be number 25 in the rankings. And when you beat two big teams like that in USC, then you come and beat TCU. That's a more than a win. That's their championship.
Yeah,
That's their championship because when you put guys like Iowa State or a Sun Belt team on your roster, most of the time people think that's a clear choice win for them. But Iowa State came out and not dominated, but the defense dominated and kind of concealed TCU's high power offense and Kenny Hill. And they really gave Kenny Hill some pressure. They mixed up different calls in the secondary. They ran mostly cover two to take away the deep routes. And the linebackers and the D tackles got on him. He threw 2 interceptions. So, I mean, you got to give credit to Iowa State. When credit is due, you got to give it to him. Iowa State came out on both squads, USC and TCU, to give them an upset, which is kind of
yeah,
crazy. Yeah, I'm loving it though. The Cyclones.
yeah. I was talking to 2 people a couple of days ago. Well, I should say not a couple. I think it was yesterday, and they said Iowa State should be in the top 4.
Top 4 of what?
I was, I was like, I was stunned.
Top 4 of people like teams that have upset people this year?
No, like legitimate top 4.
That's crazy. They
I
cannot.
know.
They cannot beat Bama. They can't beat
That's what I'm
Ohio State.
saying. They were saying the wins over Oklahoma and TCU were the most impressive wins of the entire season.
Do you
And
recognize none of these teams are in the SEC or the ACC?
that's exactly what I'm saying. So I'm saying that notion of, look, Iowa State is very impressive, but I would say its 2 wins are very impressive. They're 2 very good marquee wins, but like, whoa, they're still 6-2. You know,
Yeah,
I don't
exactly. And let me. They lost to Iowa in overtime, and they lost
exactly
to
in Texas.
and they lost to Texas. So
Now
if you,
Texas it is a more respectable team this year. I'll give you that,
yeah, but
but it's still Texas.
if they were undefeated, then it would be a different story. If they were
But
undefeated, it
2
would be a different story.
losses.
2 losses and you beat 2 big teams that people didn't think you were going to beat. So, I mean, top 4 is not even pushing. You're like throwing them. Not pushing. You're throwing them into
Exactly.
it. Like, that's crazy.
Over
Top 4?
Wisconsin, over Miami, over undefeated teams. I'm not saying those teams are that level, but still, come on.
They can't even beat Auburn or Michigan. Michigan's not even ranked anymore. They can't beat Michigan. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
that's crazy. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I just found that interesting. I really found that. I was wondering what you thought about that, but yeah, that definitely was an impressive win for Iowa State. Um, Dealing with this last week of college football, were there any other things that stood out to you?
I think I wanted to highlight. It's a game that I wanted to highlight. I want to highlight the Miami game because we talked about this outside
Two
of the
nights ago. 2 nights
yeah.
ago, we had a function at our church, and you know, the men were grilling, and we were outside just talking about sports. It doesn't get any better than that, man. And
Right.
we had a pretty nice combo.
And the cup. Uh-oh.
Okay, well,
Interruptions out there. But no, the conversation was, is Miami back? And there's a couple packages on ESPN saying, Coach Mark Rich saying, nobody says, oh, Miami's having a good season. They say Miami's back. Let me just get this straight. Miami is not back. Y'all have been rebuilding for the
exactly.
last 3 to 4 years. I give you that. Y'all have great potential, but y'all are not back.
Yeah,
Let's break this down, Willie. Can we take like
yes,
3 minutes to
yes,
break this down?
please.
Because I just don't understand. I just don't understand why people think, I'm malfunctioning here. Let's go. Miami schedule. Okay, your entire schedule, the first 7-8 games, I'll play one team that was complete on offense and defense, and y'all beat them 25-24 by 1 point. The teams that y'all should have beat by a landslide, like Florida State, I know it's a rival game, but they have no quarterback situation is
It
gone.
was down to the wire.
Yeah, and offensive line is struggling, and you should have put up points on them. You really didn't, and you beat Syracuse. And I was like, oh, Syracuse is good. They beat sheesh. They beat
Clemson.
Clemson. They could beat
Yeah,
Clemson, but they beat Clemson with a hurt
Kelly
Kelly
Bryant.
Bryant. hurt Kelly Bryant. They beat them 27-19. Okay. Then they played North Carolina. They beat them 24-19. And then they played Duke 31. Duke?
Yeah,
UK, Bethune-Cookman, Arkansas State, Toledo, Duke, Florida State is not a factor. Georgia Tech was the only team that had both of their offense and defense completely healthy. I'll give you
exactly.
that. I'll give you that. But now, if you can't beat Virginia Tech, you have Notre Dame. Virginia may give you trouble. Pittsburgh may give you trouble at the back end. But the only two teams that you have left that worth talking about is Notre Dame and Virginia Tech.
Exactly.
But you're back.
Yeah, it befuddles me because I mean, a lot of the fans they're just sold. They're absolutely sold that Miami is back, and I still haven't seen, like we talked about this last week. I still haven't seen consistent play for Miami down the stretch for me to be convinced by that.
Right. Me neither.
Yeah.
And
So
I guess when you don't win as much, well, they haven't had bad seasons. They go 9-3, 9-2. You know, they
respectable seasons.
go to bowl games and win the bowl games, but they haven't been the Miami that people are used to. Now they're undefeated.
Was Brad Kaya a junior last year?
Brad Kaya, I believe he
If he was
wasn't.
back this year, how better do you think they would be?
I think they'll be good because the seasons they had Kaya, even when he was a freshman, they're pretty good. They weren't great. They were pretty good. You know, and the quarterback, I think if they had Kaya still, it will bring them up because they put points on the board with Kaya.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, I was just saying, like, if they had an experienced quarterback, I wonder if that may get them a little closer to where they're trying to get.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Rozier is not a bad.
Yeah, I'm not trying to slight Rozier.
Rozier, thank you. That's why I keep you around. Rozier. He's not a bad quarterback, but he has no experience. And when they play big teams, they haven't played a big team. Georgia Tech is a pretty good team, but they're not a great football club. Virginia Tech ain't a great football team, but they're a good football club. Notre Dame might be the game they get stalemated to me. In all honesty.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I believe that's the game that they'll lose. And so that is definitely going to be interesting development. The new college football playoff rankings were released on Tuesday night, and it's Georgia 1, Alabama 2, Notre Dame 3, and Clemson 4. Obviously these are the initial rankings and they're not permanent, but what were your thoughts on the, initial rankings?
I think they were right. I think the football.
Are you sure about that? Because a couple of nights ago you said Clemson should be not in the top 4.
You know why I say Clemson should be in the top 4? Because you need an ACC team in there.
That's true.
You have 2 SEC teams, and you got a Notre Dame in there holding strong. And I'm glad Alabama is not number 1 anymore.
Yeah.
Because I believe Georgia has played more competitive teams.
I have to say another thing.
Okay.
Because I was one of the people I was talking to yesterday said Alabama's win against Florida State. Think about it now. Think about the win against Florida State now and how Florida State is right now. They said it's more impressive than Georgia's win at Notre Dame.
No.
That I don't see that. And I feel like the thing with Georgia is this. Georgia has had a stronger schedule, and Alabama's schedule really has the strength of it has been non-existent. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Alabama is the best team in college football, but I think Georgia's schedule definitely gives them, that's why the committee. I wasn't going to be surprised either way with the 1 or 2 because I felt like the committee was going to be like, okay, they like to judge on the body of work of each team. And so when they looked at Georgia's schedule, they're like, hey, they had one of the most impressive non-conference wins in college football. And so I think that's why Georgia got the nod at 1.
I think Ohio State should be 5. Oklahoma should be number 6. I think Wisconsin's schedule kind of hindered them from that. TCU still. Well, yeah, I think Oklahoma should be back a little bit because they've been playing. I mean, they've put numbers up, but the defense hasn't sustained them enough to make them, top 5.
Right.
And then Ohio State. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. Do you still feel like the committee weighs that Oklahoma win Ohio State a lot because they still are ahead of Ohio State? Do you think the committee is really um almost rewarding that win still?
Um, I'm not sure because Ohio State lost to a good Clemson team with a healthy quarterback, and then they just beat a hot Penn State team, who's has the Heisman candidate potential winner on the squad. They shut him down, not including the 36-yard touchdown in the first half, but they shut him down
Yes.
in the passing game, in the rushing game. 21 carries, 44 yards, and I think he had 3 catches for 10 yards. So they shut him down. So they should be in the top 5 to me, and that's my opinion. I don't think Oklahoma should be in the top 5 right now because you lost to Iowa State.
But no, but when you think about it, I think Oklahoma's loss against Iowa State actually looks a little better because Iowa State beat TCU also. You know, I mean, I kind of feel like, granted, it looked like a really bad loss at the time, but now we see their win against their win against TCU. Like that was, it wasn't. It still was a bad loss.
So you're saying Iowa State is that good that they beat
No,
2 top
no.
10 teams?
What I'm saying is those teams didn't play to the level that they normally play at.
So why should they have a shot to playing in the all-time stage at NCAA?
Iowa State.
No, I'm saying Oklahoma because
Yeah.
if
This is what I'll say with Oklahoma. Oklahoma each week has almost been on upset alert
I
because
believe that.
the defense has been horrendous. It's been giving up a ton of points, and Baker Mayfield has constantly had to bring back his team. So if there's one team I'm not convinced on right now, it's definitely Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
It's gonna
it's
get interesting though.
definitely.
End of the season and it come the SEC championship, if both teams are still undefeated, Georgia and Alabama. So even with a loss, they have to still be because there's a couple teams with losses in the top 10
So you think whoever loses the Georgia Alabama game?
will still be in it. Both teams, I think, will still be in it.
Wow.
Just like the one year, I think it was when LSU and Alabama ended up in the national championship, and they Bama
Yeah.
beat them in the SEC championship, and both still landed in the national championship. So I think
Yeah.
it'll be a similar story because both teams are undefeated. Both teams had a good schedule. Well, Georgia with the upper hand with more people outside of SEC. You bring those teams together, SEC championship. I think you still give one of those teams a chance to be in the playoffs because looking at the list, Notre Dame has a loss, Clemson has a loss, Oklahoma has a loss, Ohio State, Penn State, TCU. Then on the outskirts of the top 10, Oklahoma State, Washington, Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
So,
But hey, what
yeah,
do I know? What do I know? A win against a 2-5 Florida State team is more impressive than a Georgia win. That I guess that's how it goes
well,
with some people.
everybody was, fresh start, and then they had the Francois, the quarterback that did pretty good last
Yeah,
season, but the offensive line still was I don't know. They will be as bad as a 2-5 team now. They will,
exactly.
struggle with some games, but
Yeah,
Francois
I
is a
understand.
better
I
quarterback.
understand the reasoning, but yeah, it now it just doesn't look that impressive.
Not at all.
Well, yeah. So those developments in the season, obviously, we know it's going to get more interesting as the season progresses. Um, Dealing with this upcoming week in college football, week 10, what's like one of the interesting games? I know we do the three most interesting games of each week. What's one of the interesting games you see this upcoming week?
I'm gonna let you go first because I always go first. Let's switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna let you go first,
That is kind of true.
so I won't steal your games like you always
I
say.
know, no, yeah, I know it always happens, but I'm gonna go Clemson at NC State,
Mm.
because I really want to see how Kelly Bryant keeps developing each week. We know he was battered in the Syracuse game, and he had a better performance against Georgia Tech. But you said it really wasn't that good of a defense.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just kind of interested to see how he develops week to week as they get closer to trying to get into that ACC championship.
That was a good one. I think my number 3 will definitely be Virginia Tech and Miami.
Yeah.
Uh, dude, like we just said, ACC. Who's on the top of the ACC right now? Miami's on top because they're still undefeated.
Yeah,
But it's really funny to me, so I'm sorry. But let's see if Virginia Tech and Miami can come and clash together. Miami's on a hot streak. Virginia Tech just came on a 2-game winning streak. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think if this is the first wave, the real wave of seeing if Miami is really a contender for the national championship. If they beat Virginia Tech, then on the next level, and then the next stage is one of the big bosses. That's Notre Dame, who's in the top 10 as well.
it's
So
gonna be epic.
it's going to be. Hopefully, it's going to be epic. But I know
Well,
every day.
I actually shouldn't jinx it because Notre Dame may actually be a lot better than Miami.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, so that's definitely gonna be an interesting one. Um, hmm. I'm trying to think well, LSU Alabama. That's always been um a traditionally close game. Um, I, for me, Alabama's skill is the best team in college football. And
Yeah,
like we were talking about a couple of nights ago, they're so fundamentally sound they don't beat themselves. So even when you're close, they're not going to give you any more leeway than to actually come back into the game. And so it's definitely going to be it's always has been an interesting matchup, and I think it's going to be another interesting matchup to see how Alabama fares against a pretty good SEC West team.
and LSU's on a 3-game winning streak, so
Yeah. So
their
we
confidence
got
is
some
back.
momentum, coming.
Yeah, their confidence back up. Let's see if they can, because that homecoming loss was
Oh
kind of was
gosh.
kind of brutal on everybody. And it's my malfunctioning over here. Okay, now I'm back. No, I'm not back. No, hold up. Sorry, my stuff is malfunctioning here. My game would be Stanford and Washington State. No,
Yes.
no, 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 no. I take that back. I'll take Iowa State in West Virginia, which Iowa State is number 15 now.
Wow.
Iowa State's number 15 now.
That's interesting.
Interesting.
But some people say it should be in, top four, huh?
Top four. No, not top four. What if the crazy scenario, all these teams lose out and Iowa State sneaks up?
Yeah,
That'll be insane.
it would be.
Because a lot of top 10 teams play each other.
Yes.
So,
So they couldn't,
ooh,
cancel each other out.
yeah, and that'll be interesting. Iowa State has to win out though, and it starts with West Virginia. But I think that'll be my second game because Iowa State is on a terror of taking down big name teams.
Yes.
So
So,
that's my second game.
yeah, that definitely should be an interesting one. I'm
Yeah,
gonna kind of take yours, the one you almost went with, Stanford Washington State.
really,
Scant. What?
really.
Oh, you don't think it's gonna be?
No, because they're on the back end, and I
I,
really
I
want.
do realize that, but Stanford, with Bryce Love, has been playing a lot better lately, and they always are that team that you have to watch out for because they do play a good brand of football. And with Bryce Love being a dynamic player, I think they've been playing better down the stretch and could really be a force to be reckoned with, in that division.
Okay, well, the only reason why I didn't pick them because they're on the back end and they're not playoff savvy right now.
Yeah, I guess you could
And
say.
but it's still top 25 teams going together head to head. But I think my first game will be the rival against Oklahoma State.
Oh
So
my gosh, how
yeah,
did I forget
that's
that?
why I was like,
Oh
oh
my
wow, really?
gosh.
So
Wow, Bedlam. Oh man.
Oklahoma State
I just
rival
glared
games.
over. Oh man.
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a good game because
Yes.
that scenario sneaks in so perfectly. So if one either of these teams lose, Oklahoma State will move up. Oklahoma drop to probably in the top 10 or out of the top 10 because they already lost one game. Then guess who creeps in the top 10? Iowa State.
Yes.
So it's a great it's a great systematic system right now for Iowa State to sneak in.
This should
That'd be
definitely be a
super
shootout,
dope.
right? This should definitely
Yeah,
be a shootout, right?
yeah, most definitely. Baker Mayfield. I don't you having him at quarterback is always good. The defense, these teams always have great offense, but the defense is so mediocre and they allow points to be put on the board. So it's definitely like a shootout. So I don't know. It's definitely more. If it's a defense game, my jaw would drop.
It would, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if it's a defensive game, but I definitely think it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, most definitely. And those are it should be another interesting week in college football. And it gets more unpredictable as the season goes along, as it does every year, it seems. So that'll definitely be interesting. Um, Transitioning to the NFL, Deshaun Watson had an incredible performance against Seattle. 19 of 30 for 402 yards with 4 touchdowns. Did have 3 interceptions, but still a pretty good game against a really a good defense, which has been an elite defense in the past.
Mm-hmm.
What was your take on that game, and also just how he's been playing this season? I think he's leading the league with 19 touchdowns, maybe, or 17.
You're right with 19 touchdowns.
Okay, 19. Okay,
you are correct. But the craziest thing about it, he's still the same Deshaun Watson from Clemson.
Yeah.
And I wasn't big on Deshaun Watson coming out of the draft because he's inconsistent and he throws interceptions and he forces the ball and he's sometimes not accurate when he doesn't step into his throw. So he's still the same Deshaun Watson from Clemson. But the crazy thing about it, he knows how to win. Sometimes sometimes stats doesn't matter or interceptions doesn't matter if you win the game, and he's showing that if a team surrounds him like Clemson did, and the defense steps up on some occasions, and different things happen in the ball game, that they can win. He's a winner. You might not have the best stats, but he's a winner, and that's what you want in a quarterback. He's a winner. You want a lot of things in a quarterback. You'll hear me saying a lot of things you want in a quarterback because that's the scout coming out of me. But one of the biggest things you want out of a quarterback is, can he win the ball game? Can he put the team in a situation to win in the stretch in the fourth quarter? They came up short. Defense let a couple touchdowns slip out of their hands. For Deshaun Watson, I mean, he's not the real deal, but he can't be the real deal. You off again? Yeah.
Yeah. I would definitely say that, and it's interesting because with J.J. Watt going down and the defense losing a big integral part of their system, it was really it really seemed like they were going to lose a heavy part of that. And obviously, giving up 41 points, that's a big letdown for the defense. But it seems like Deshaun Watson has given them that spark and that, that offensive firepower that they've needed with the letdown at the defensive end. Richard Sherman, the last thing I'll say about this, Richard Sherman was asked about Deshaun Watson's performance, and he was like, Houston's really lucky they got a quarterback like that. And next year, he could be top 5, with the Rodgers and Brady's. I don't know if I would go that far, but do you think he can get to that level?
It's going to take him some years.
Yeah.
He has to polish himself a little more. He makes a ton of mistakes. You look at the guys like Tom Brady, look at Aaron Rodgers, those guys really make mistakes. And if they throw the ball and they only throw the ball wherever their wide receiver can catch it or is out of reach, so the DB can't get a hand on it. So he still has trouble with being precise and have precision in his throwing abilities, as well as making the right decisions. So I don't think next year, he's definitely a number 1 candidate for Rookie of the Year. I'll definitely give him that because he's playing off the scales. But to be compared in a top 5 with other quarterbacks in the league, like Ben Roethlisberger, we don't know what he's going to do next year, but other quarterbacks in the league, I'm not going to say Matt Ryan, but Kirk Cousins, Jameis Winston, those guys who have great potential to be top 5 quarterbacks. That's kind of stretching it. That's I don't think he'll be top 5, but he has potential. He has to continue to grow into the game and learn what to do and not to do on the field.
Yeah, and dealing with that game, I'll say this to close it. Russell Wilson is entering the MVP conversation. 452 yards, had a pretty big game. I thought that was also an impressive performance by Russell Wilson as well.
He's definitely slept on, Wilson. He's definitely slept on.
Yeah. So definitely. Philadelphia is now 7-1, the leading team in the NFC. and they've continued to play well. Carson Wentz has continued to flourish. Do you think now that they're kind of the clear front runner in the NFC?
I definitely think so.
Yeah.
And I'll say that for multiple reasons. You look at the NFC right now. You look at the teams right now. I'll just stop at the NFC East. The only team that I see maybe competing with them in the NFC East is the Cowboys right now. I said the New York Giants was out the first 4 games. Redskins kind of fizzled out, and now the only team that can give them some trouble is the Cowboys. But just making it big in the NFC, you have the Vikings. You look at every top team in the Southwest and in the North. You got the Vikings, Saints, and the Seahawks. Seahawks is no pushover, but how the Eagles are playing right now and how their offense and how they're leading with Carson Wentz, and they just when they go get IG what his name is. Like it's so hard to pronounce sometimes. I get it one day.
It really is. It really is.
So they went to go acquire him. So to add to the running game with LeGarrette Blount. So they're adding more pieces into it before the trade deadline ended. But without Green Bay knocking on the door anymore, we don't know what's going to happen with Brett Brunley. And I don't know, Saints are playing pretty good, but right now I definitely will say the Eagles are the top runner right now, not just because of their record, but how they're competing every single game on a high level. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
And I honestly, I really didn't think the jump would be that quick with them. Last year with Carson Wentz, his second year, he's really taking over as a really good quarterback. His learning curve has been fast, and so I definitely think that's something that's been very commendable. Okay, with Dallas, with the Ezekiel Elliott situation, are you still think they're a threat to Philadelphia?
Yes, I believe so. And
yeah,
I'm a little biased because my brother plays for them, but yes. I think the running game can continue to be stable. I mean, he'll get you 100 yards a game, and he can spread it out a little bit. And now, I don't think they miss a beat because Ezekiel is a great running back, and he makes plays. But I think they have the running game in Alfred Morris and with Smith, and then they have McFadden as well. So I think they can be stable enough to open the running the pass game for Dak Prescott. I mean, if the offensive line blocks, then they're making holes. They'll be good enough, and that's why they kept those veteran guys just in case something happens, just like this, or Ezekiel got injured or something along the line. You never know in the NFL. I think they're still good enough to compete with the Philadelphia Eagles. I believe so.
Yeah, I would definitely agree as well. They're stable enough with the running back position to still, be in that conversation. The last NFL topic we're going to go over is Jimmy Garoppolo was traded to San Francisco, the 49ers, this past week. And, there was always questions about do the Patriots want to, look for the future afterwards with Tom Brady if he starts to decline, or would they just want to stick with Brady for the long haul until he's ready to call it quits? And that was, that kind of showed, hey, the Patriots are pretty stuck on Tom Brady and wanting to go with him long term. What were your thoughts on that trade?
Why not?
You
know, Tom Brady is rarely injured, hurt at all. He's consistent. That's what makes him one of the great top 3 quarterbacks of all time that touched the football field. He's a phenomenal player. He has an IQ. When you have a coach like Bill Belichick and Tom Brady together, it's like, I don't know, it's like a majestic unicorn.
Yeah.
It's a great
it's like a symphony.
Thing. Yeah, it really is. So they trust Tom Brady to be healthy and not to make bad decisions. So with the organization that trusts their quarterback that much, why not send a young guy that they know that's pretty good instead of keeping him and keep him hostage? We're going to send you to a team that can desperately need you and you can make an immediate impact for them. Garoppolo played, 2 games before he injured his shoulder and went 2-0. He threw 3 for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions before injuring, and Jacob Brissett had to come in because he got injured. But he showed massive potential. And 49ers, in all retrospect, needs massive potential. They're 0-8.
I mean, he completed 70% of his passes last season.
Yeah.
Garoppolo. So I mean, he showed promise.
And they need it. Well, and then Cal Shanahan said they're not expecting him to come in and save their season. No, he's saying they're trying to get him in the position to be able to assist the team and help the team in whatever way they need him to do. But no, you don't go get a guy like that and expect him not to try to do something immediate, have an immediate impact. But then he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. So they have the opportunity to either franchise tag him or transition tag him, which gives him, he's sold to the team pretty much for the 49ers if they want to do so. Because I don't know if they're going to go to get Kirk Cousins. They could have got a quarterback in the draft, but that didn't happen. Well, early in the draft, but that didn't happen. But I guess depending on how Garoppolo does in the last last 6 games, because they're not making the playoffs. So the last 6 games to see if this is the guy that we want at the reins of our football team. Cal Shanahan is a new coach. He's still fairly new. It's his first season, and he needs some massive improvement at the quarterback position because right now it's been super stale.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely think it may be something that, benefits both sides long term. But we'll definitely see. Dealing with transitioning to baseball, Game 7 was last night, and the Houston Astros defeated the Los Angeles Dodgers 5-1 to win the World Series. And, it's their first World Series win in their franchise history. And, it was a huge win. And I can't say I expected Darvish and Clayton Kershaw to have that type of performance for the Dodgers. But what were your thoughts on that last game?
Hey, man, it was a great series.
Yeah, it really
came
was.
down to the last game. You want that. I think the people of baseball.
The last 2 years in baseball have come down to that.
Yeah, and that's so good. And this is the first time both teams were over 100 winning 100 games in the regular season. And being in the World Series, which is super crazy because it hasn't been done since the 80s or the 79 or something like that. But for Houston Astros to win, in spite of everything that's going on in Houston with the hurricane, I think it was a rainbow. I say the same thing when New Orleans won the Super Bowl against the Colts, and New Orleans was going through so much as a city, and they won the Super Bowl. I think that's a rainbow for them, and I think it's the same thing with the Houston Astros. But they wanted it more, of course, because they didn't beat them 4-3 or no, it was 5-1 run. So it was a good game for the Houston Astros, and I think it was well deserved and well needed for the city of Houston.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, George Springer, Charlie Morton were huge, and Justin Verlander. I think he's always been considered a great pitcher. He always has been a great pitcher, but for him to get this World Series win, I think really cements his legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And the pitcher he's been, and huge win for Houston. Transitioning to the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers and Golden State Warriors have gotten off to rough starts. Golden State is 5-3. They're going to play San Antonio tonight, and we'll see how that goes. And Cleveland is 3-5. They lost their 4th straight last night to the Indiana Pacers by 17 at home, and it looks really bad right now in terms of how Cleveland's been playing. And they may be without Tristan Thompson for a month with a calf injury. What are your initial takeaways from the kind of slow starts by the Cavs and Warriors?
You're gonna have that at times because last year
they've been playing into June for the last 3 years.
Yeah. And the Warriors last year they didn't start off hot. They were, trying to fill out each other and trying to fill gelling as a team in the first 15 games. But you got to realize this is 82 games. Cavs were 3-5. It's only the 8th game. Just hold on. These some old guys.
Yeah, this is the oldest roster in the league.
Right. And they still have guys missing, guys are out, so their team is not complete yet. So they're just playing until this point of the season. So I'm not red alert just right. Because I mean, LeBron is doing his job. The
Yeah.
other guys, I mean, I don't know. Because LeBron, when they played the Pacers, LeBron had 33 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists, 6 rebounds. So he's doing his job. Like, you can't blame LeBron for the team losing. But I don't know. It's right now. I won't be discouraged about it because it's only the first 8 game. Now we get into the December, and and they're
Yeah,
like
it needs to turn
five
around.
and 5-20. Then we're gonna be like, okay, like
Yeah.
what's going on, Cavaliers? This is not what we people signed up for, defending the land. But with the Warriors,
Yeah.
I definitely think they'll catch up. They'll speed up the process.
Yeah, absolutely. With the Warriors, they've gotten off to slow starts. You think with the Pelicans and the Grizzlies and the Pistons. I mean, they had a lead against the Pistons, but they blew it. And I think with the Warriors, it's kind of been slow starts and a bit of. Do you think kind of like both teams may be bored with the process? You know how I'm not saying they're not being professionals in terms of um playing at the highest level. But do you think sometimes with teams like this, you can get bored with the process?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But what type of process are you saying? What are you trying to?
Yeah.
What type of process?
What I mean is the grind of the regular season. We both know these two teams are um, undoubtedly the best team. We believe them to be the best teams in their conference at the end of the year. But sometimes, in a regular season where it's a grind, um, you may not consistently be playing at the level that you always play at because you know that okay, the Cleveland's like, is there really a team that can actually beat us 4 out of 7 times in the Eastern Conference? That remains to be seen. And with Golden State, obviously it's going to be tougher in the West, but sometimes you wonder teams, elite teams like that struggling, with the process of a season, after 3 grueling seasons playing late into June.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I believe the players love the process, and the process gets you into the playoffs because you can't be bored with the process of getting to the playoffs. If you're bored with that or you're not being, hyped up about it, you're not going to make it to the playoffs. And I think the one guy who always transitioned into a monster in the playoffs is LeBron James. He turns into mega hooded LeBron. Like how Carmelo is
Hoodie
hooded
Mellow.
Melo, and then he's like a different person. LeBron is a total monster in the playoffs. He changes his whole mood. But okay, maybe it's like different because the stakes are it's higher in the
That's what I'm saying.
playoffs.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. Of course, regular season is important, but playoffs is like when we got to win or we're going home. Like this is more dire than anything. But I
Yeah.
don't think they get bored with the process. I don't think so because they love the game. And when you
Yeah.
love the game, you don't get bored with the process.
Yeah, most definitely. It definitely is one of those things where, um, with Cleveland, it's kind of like, look, they're down 2 point guards
Yeah.
without Isaiah Thomas and Derrick Rose and
Derrick
LeBron
Rose
for
went out again?
well, no, he's
He's
actually back, but
back.
I mean, at one
Yeah.
point they were down 2 point
Okay.
guards,
Okay.
and so for me, it's just like I definitely think that this team has a new identity. They're not as established as they were the last couple of years because they knew their identity. Right now, this team is trying to form its identity, and
Right.
so I think it's going to take a little while. But I'm not, yeah, I'm not concerned with Golden State or Cleveland. I definitely think they'll get things going.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and so dealing with the Boston Celtics, they're 6-2 now. They've won 6 straight. They're the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference right now. And with the loss of Gordon Hayward, we kind of thought that it would be a huge struggle for Boston. Well, at least I did. You were like, hey, you thought they would be fine
Yeah.
without him, and that they would still be able to sustain it. What are your thoughts on them? Playing really good basketball as of late and being the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference so far.
I think they're distributing the ball well.
Yeah.
And they're not just depending on one player to be the guy. And I think that's the era of Kyrie Irving because even when the Kyrie's with the Cavaliers, they distribute the ball well. They didn't have a big enough system so they can win games. And that's why they win. It's like, hey, LeBron, can you come back home? But
Yeah.
but right now, I think they're distributing the ball well through Kyrie, through Horford and Baines. Westcom is injured. Marcus Smart is coming off the bench.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I thought he was still starting in the starting five.
Yeah.
But no, they're distributing the ball well. So I think that's what's sustaining him so far. But I don't know if it will continue to happen in that system because once you get higher and closer to the playoffs, guys get hurt, people get tired. You're gonna need that guy to step up and hit 40 points a game or 33 a game, like Giannis from Milwaukee. He's
Giannis.
Giannis. I thought I had it right. Giannis.
It's tough. It's a
He's
tough
so
name.
grease. He's a grease
Yeah.
monster. But no, I think they're. Yeah, I definitely think they're still good without him right now. Right
Yeah.
now, it's too early. It's super early to say anything right now.
No, yeah, and I definitely understand that. I'm saying what we say today may be invalid by tonight. you know,
Maybe, yeah.
you know what I mean? It's just how the NBA works and how it's so unpredictable to predict things so early. But one of the things I didn't really recognize is Kyrie's a really good passer.
He is.
He's a really good passer and um distributing the ball. He's doing that very well. And Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they've been playing really well. Two good wings that have been playing, extremely well. And I think, their learning curve is going to be instrumental for them as the season, goes along.
Yeah, I totally agree. But at some point, Kyrie's gonna have to be Kyrie.
Yeah.
And I think he's right now. He doesn't have to be Kyrie right now.
So you think this is not the Kyrie that's going to be able to get them to where they want to go?
No, not at all. Because he did that with the Cavaliers for the season before LeBron came back. That's why they weren't really going high in the playoffs because he wasn't being that enforcer. You know how Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant doesn't have any problem getting the ball, shooting, and taking over the game. You have to make Kyrie do that. You have to make LeBron do that. LeBron is an all around player, so he'll find people that he'll know to make the big shots when he doesn't want to. So he's not an enforcer. Those guys are not enforcers. LeBron's going to get you points. You got to make LeBron do that. So you have to make Kyrie be that enforcer and take over the game. Right now, he doesn't have to be because it's
Right.
not like the heat is not on right now. We're 6-2, 8 games into the season. Once they get down to the 50 games, he's going to have to be Kyrie Irving in the playoffs, hitting the last shot against Steph Curry. He's got to be that guy. If he's not that guy, you don't have Gordon Hayward
But
anymore.
wasn't that the guy we also complained about?
Yes.
Like that's the
Yes.
same guy who had like the dribble the dribble heavy isolation plays that went nowhere and were ended up in bricks.
But you have to give him that opportunity because he's the best finisher in the league. You have to make him be impactful. LeBron couldn't do it by himself. So
Yeah.
he said, "Hey, Kyrie, man, you got to be that guy because they didn't have anybody else to be that guy. Kevin Love can't be that guy. Not in this system. When he was with the Timberwolves, he was that guy, averaging 35 points a game. Well, close to 35 points a game. So he's the only guy to be that guy right now in Celtics. And he wanted it that way. He wanted it that way. So now we're seeing the same Kyrie from the Cavaliers before LeBron came. You can't win
Really?
championships. Yes, you can't win championships like
Was
that.
he this good of a distributor in those days?
Yes, he had to be. He didn't shoot that much when he was by himself.
He didn't have but he didn't have the talent on the floor that he does now. Like, do you think?
It's still with the talent on the floor, he has to be that guy. They played a 1-6 Kings team. the other day. He didn't have to. He scored 22 points. Brown scored 22 points. Tatum scored 12. Horford scored 7.
But
He has to be that enforcer. Right now, he doesn't have to be.
yeah,
He has to change his game. We talked about different players going to different teams and changing their identity and their perspective on the game of basketball that they're used to doing. We talked about Chris Paul, Paul George, Hooded Melo. We talked about all these guys. Dwayne Wade, he knows it, so he got out the starting 5 and went to the second squad on the court. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, most
And,
definitely. I definitely understand that.
yeah. So I mean, he has to be there for us. They have to force him to be that way, and that comes from the coach.
Yeah, and they've been playing well so far.
Yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis has started the season off well. Obviously they had a rough outing against Houston last night.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that's to say the least. Did you see the play with the Houston defender who got his ankles
I did see that play.
God.
It was really nasty. It was really, and NBA put it on the top 10 crossovers.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
was super nasty. But he is playing. I mean, the record right now is, like you said, it's too early. Forget about the record. Forget about records right now. Just look at the team play. They're playing good.
Yeah, he's scoring 30 or more in the first 5 games. He scored 30 or more.
Yeah,
Kristaps.
without Melo. Well, this game he only had 19. But
Yeah, but I mean like in the first I
yeah.
think first 4.
But I
But
mean,
yeah,
look at the lineup. I mean, the top 3 guy, Porzingis, Kanter. I'm big on Kanter. I like Kanter.
I like Henry.
He's a versatile big guy. And Hardaway. I mean, who doesn't love Hardaway?
Exactly.
He's a good
Yeah.
point guard.
Yeah, he's leading the league in usage rate 35%. And that kind of shows me, look, he really is able to shoulder the offensive load. And they're really that they really have a centerpiece they can try to build around. In terms of his overall play, what are some things that you see that you didn't expect to see without Carmelo this year?
He's creating points off the dribble. So
Yeah.
most of the time they'll feed him in the paint or he'll be 15 away jumper, but he's driving to the hole. He's setting up his shots. He's moving off the pick and roll. He's more active because when Melo is solo Melo right, solo Melo left,
Yeah.
solo Melo coming down the court shoot the 3. So he's more mobile now without Melo on the court, and they're going to him more because that's why they drafted him. They was really high on him coming out of college. So he has to be that guy, and I think
Yeah,
they're
definitely.
utilizing him more because he can do more. He's one of those
Yeah.
big guys who can take the load and he can be the guy who can be a changer and impact player. And that's where we're seeing a different him since last year with Melo off the court because look, we all know what Melo's going to do. Melo goes to what I think is an X on the court that Melo goes to every
Yeah.
time. Like he loves that specific spot, like his hot spot, and he'll
Yeah.
stay there. But yeah, he's playing on all levels, man. He's playing the same.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's been impressive so far. Our last topic for today, the Minnesota Timberwolves, I think they're 6-3 now. And they've been in some games where they've closed them out and other games where they haven't.
Mm-hmm.
With Minnesota, to me, Andrew Wiggins has played better, but it's almost one of those things where you still see deficiencies. Like Andrew Wiggins, Karl-Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins are still 2 of the worst defenders in the league. There's still issues defensively. They rank 30th in defensive rating.
Mm-hmm.
They really have struggled defensively, and obviously they have that more of a closer and a vocal leader in Jimmy Butler. But do you think this team can take the next step forward?
I think so. Because we talked about them being a young team and adding Jimmy, who's been in the league a sustained amount of time, and him being the guy in Chicago. Now he's got to be the guy to these young guys. So I mean, and then Gibson as well. He's an older guy, so they bring some leadership in. But I think they can be that team. They're good. If they all of them play on the high level, they're real good. Carl, like you said, he's not a big defensive player, but he's definitely an offensive versatile big guy who can shoot the three, drive in the hole, do everything that you need him to do. But I think they can. I think
But
they can be on the next
but
level.
you're not concerned about the defensive deficiencies?
Oh, I'm definitely am. But they find a way to win.
Yeah.
And of course, you're going to lose some games because you're not playing defense well. But if you can find a way to win, even though you're not playing great defense, then that's good potential in a basketball team. Have potential and they can improve on that. And I think it starts with the big guy because you're a big guy. First of all, you're a big guy. You have to be a defender. So you have to learn how to defend the rack and get rebounds and stuff. But I think they can. We talked about this. They're a good basketball team. We were really excited about them, and I still am. Andrew Wiggins is playing pretty good.
What's the ceiling for this king? Like, what would be a disappointing season, and what would be a satisfying season for them?
Them going to the second round of the playoffs
Okay.
is a good win for them. If they can get that far, then they can understand. Okay, we got a good team.
So a first round exit would be disappointing.
Yes. Yes, I think so. With the amount of talent that they have on the court and on the bench, I think that'll be disappointing. Going second round lets them know we're there, but we're not there yet. We can get there. Now we have to make some moves in the draft and in the free agency. Let's get some more players here. Let's get some more supporting cast team players. So I think going to the second round and maybe losing is a good win for them. Going first round exiting is a total bless for them. With the talent they have,
definitely. I would definitely agree that I think that would be the disappointing part and the satisfying part as well. Are there any other things in the NBA you're seeing that interest you?
Lonzo Ball. I mean, Lonzo is a hot topic, man.
Yeah, man.
So
the way he's playing is really contagious for this team.
And LeVar, his father, everybody knows LeVar Ball. He said Lonzo's not worried about no stats.
Yeah.
Lonzo worried about winning, which is really crazy. And honest because he doesn't care. The greatest, I talked about this last week. The greatest thing this kid has is him creating buckets off his passing ability. He's bringing a new order of passing back to the Lakers and to the league. Because a lot of guys don't assist well as a team. But you have a point guard that can distribute and like down the court, he throws it, big man jump up, lay it in. Like it's so simple and just like one of the I forgot what game it was a tip ball off the rebound. He patted to.
It was a touch pass.
Yeah, it was a touch pass.
It was crazy.
And he just ran out of the court knowing it was going in. Like
that was the thing. He touched past it and just started heading back down court. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was, and that was a good. I was like, okay, he's bringing a new order of passing back to the Lakers because the great passers that have came and played for the Lakers, and one of them, his name is Jerry West. The other one is Magic Johnson. So these guys have really coined the phrase of making buckets off passes and assists, and that's what I love about Lonzo. He's not a consistent 3-point shooter. He can drive in, lay up, but he's not a good jumper shooter as well. He's inconsistent.
His shooting is really an issue right now.
Yeah, and that's why I said he's a point guard at the end of the day.
I understand that, but I also don't understand that.
What do you mean? Like,
because he's got to be like, if he's going to be the peak version of himself, he has to be a better perimeter shooter and a better shooter overall. Like,
I don't think
the way he's playing, I'm telling you, if he starts like becoming an efficient perimeter shooter, he can be really good.
I think right now they don't need him to be that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying right now, but I'm saying eventually.
I think if he continues to be who he is now, I think he could be successful in the league. Because
most definitely. But I'm saying like next level, like, okay, like this guy could be like, in a very elite point guard in the West.
Do we expect him to be next level? I don't think we do. I don't think people
I
expect
think
him
he's
to
gonna be
be.
very special. I think he's gonna be very special in this league.
I don't think he has to. I don't think Lonzo has to be the guy who shoots the ball. Chris Paul
I'm not.
rarely.
I'm not saying no. I'm not. I'm not talking about being like the type of guy who wants shots consistently because he really doesn't. He wants to create. He wants to set up his teammates well for passes and and
Right.
efficient shots. That's what Lonzo wants to do. I'm just saying, man, defenses are sagging on him right now because they are not afraid of his shot, and that's evident because he's not been efficient from the perimeter. That's why I'm saying when defenses are more scared of his shot, that's when the passing even becomes more efficient.
Okay. I can agree with that to a certain extent. I can. I can see what you're saying, but I don't know. Him, yeah, he needs to improve his shot. Okay, I'll give you that. He definitely needs to improve his shot to be more consistent. But I don't know. His passing is overshadowing his ability to shoot the
Yeah, most
jumper or
definitely.
shoot the long ball. People don't care. As long as you're making assists and giving your teammates the ability, giving them chances to get to the hole and distributing well. That's why I say at the end of the day, he's a point guard.
Yeah, and for the last part of this podcast, he's got two really elite point guards he's about to play against. Damian Lillard tonight
Yeah, most
and
definitely.
D'Angelo Russell, the quote unquote, maybe revenge game. Uh, for Russell, what are you looking for and like what are you kind of interested to see in those two matchups because he's playing pretty elite point guards in the West for these
Well,
upcoming two nights. Well, I'm not gonna say Russell, but it's gonna be two interesting point guard matchups,
I think right now it's not even about those matchups
and not in the
because
West. Brinklin's not in the West. My bad, in the East.
on paper right now it's no contest. Damian Lillard is an amazing scorer and distributor at the same time. Lonzo's just a distributor. So on paper it's really not a matchup, but in the game, I don't think we even need to worry about that matchup because they have a bench. They got Julian Randle. I mean, yeah, Randle coming off the bench. That's Kuzma coming off the bench. They have these guys that they drafted, the
He's
guys that
becoming
they
a professional scorer, Kyle
yes.
Kuzma.
So I don't think the headline should be Lonzo versus Damian Lillard
I'm
because
not.
it's not going to
No,
be
no, no,
that.
no. I'm not trying to make
No, no,
it.
no. I
Yeah,
no, I get what you're saying, but it's not even about that. The point guard versus point guard. Now, if it
I
was
know that.
Kyrie versus Damian Lillard, then okay, let's what we're going to see here. But with Lonzo, you're not. He's just a normal point guard right now. He's
Gotcha,
normal.
gotcha.
Damian is on another level. Just in the matchup with him, Lonzo against John Wall, it wasn't a big a hoorah or anything. John Wall got his points, but Lonzo distributed well. He made some
Lonzo
couple
defended well
buckets.
too.
Yeah. So it's not even I don't think it's about him going against Damian because both guys are different point guard position, a different level in their game. So
Yeah,
I
most
mean
definitely.
that's what I think. But
Are
it's gonna be a
you
good
are,
game
are
though.
you are you expecting any? Are you expecting anything from D'Angelo Russell in his game against his former team?
Nah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you
So
think do you think it's bad blood between the two? I mean, him
I
and the
do.
organization.
That's why I say that. I really do.
Mm.
I do feel like he feels like he still should have been the starting point guard for the Lakers, and I feel like that's why it's going to be bad blood. But hey, it should be an interesting game. Hey, it was another great podcast, man. We got into a lot of good topics, and it was another great conversation.
It was, man. Full scope at its finest.
Most definitely, most definitely. We'll be back next week with some more great topics, and we'll see you soon.